File attack point. Mavericks inbound.
It's Pod Maverick. A Maverick. Hosted by Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe.
Hello, welcome to Pod Maverick. I'm Kirk Henderson, joined by Josh Bowe. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing good. I turned the light on. I figure it's tonight's the night. You turn the light on, right? The light is back on for the Mavericks franchise. Potentially.
Just when we thought we were out, they pull us back in again. Guys,
Thank you, Adam Silver, for saving every independent Mavericks website and podcasts. Seriously. Freaking he just wrote us a government bailout check.
7 years ago, similar time of the month, I was drunk as balls because the Mavericks traded up to get Luka Doncic. That podcast is still in existence. We're happy to share it for anybody who really wants it. This is crazy, guys. The Dallas Mavericks jumped from 11, where they were really in a coin flip situation with the Chicago Bulls, which they won.
Did that coin flip technically mean? Yes. Is that what decided it?
Yes.
And it's an actual coin flip, isn't it? Like they're not joking. Or did they use an algorithm or something?
I don't know. That's actually a good question. And so the Mavericks jumped from the 11th position in the lottery, 1.8% chance, 8.5% overall to get into the top four, which is actually quite good, to number one. That's significant for so many reasons. And quite honestly, it's a little difficult to figure out where to start because, we'll just be honest, like we weren't prepared for this. We were going to go live tonight because Josh and I hadn't recorded in a week. Circumstances got out of our control. And, there just hasn't been much to talk about.
This is the last thing to talk about till, draft.
Right. And, there's draft and there's always some news. But like, frankly, Josh and I have these internal conversations where it's like, all right, we need to recharge. We need to figure out some things. We don't want to do this to where it's no longer where it becomes a chore. And then once it becomes a chore, then it's not worth doing. And, Josh said something to that effect a couple of weeks ago and people got like really mad at him for admitting to being a human being. Really weird. But here we are. And the Mavericks are in the number one slot where it is already sort of assumed that the Mavericks could trade or could select or should select Cooper Flagg out of Duke. And
he is the overwhelming
consensus. Favorite. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's Dylan Harper, who played at Rutgers as a number two, but I don't want to say he's a distant number two. His measurables came in today and he was actually an enormous tank of a human being. And I think as a podcast and as a Dallas Mavericks community, we will actually spend a fair amount of time talking about Dylan Harper just because he's that interesting of a prospect. His father, Ron Harper, former Chicago Bull, yelled at me on Twitter just a couple weeks ago or about the Luka trade. That's fun. So, and then there's always, we just kind of have to address it up front. Like it's so funny. And I look, guys, I don't judge anybody for how they fan anymore. I used to get pissy with it. I had like 25 people like, what if Nico trades his pick? And I'm just like, guys, let's just be excited. Be excited the one time, right? I get shit on quite fairly, I think, for being a bit of a negative Nancy. This is nuts. Like, this is nuts. This is a different kind of nuts than the Mavericks trading up to get Luka. I guess it wasn't this time of year. When this time of year, 7 years ago, I was very sad that the Mavericks fell to fifth when they should have been at the third spot, whatever. So yeah, like what do you think, we ought to talk about, man? Like, where should we start?
I know I'll get this out of the way because I'm already getting so much pushback on Twitter about this because people just can't fucking like use their brains and think for like a second. Like I'm already getting oh, you're just being negative again, or they're not going to trade the pick. And it's like, I'm not rooting for they traded Luka Doncic like 4 months. I don't think it's crazy to say that trading the pick is within the realm of possibilities. And I think it's a disservice to our audience to not mention it. Like, we're clearly dealing with a front office that will do anything to build the team that it wants to build.
They're
pulled
in a
off the
win
most
now.
they pulled off the most unprecedented trade in NBA history, and you guys want to and people want to get mad at me for being like, what if they trade the pick? Like, I'm not doing it to try to piss in your cereal bowl. Like, I'm just saying, like, we have to think about it. Now, I want to talk about it now and get it out of the way, and then we can talk about the other stuff, because I don't want to talk about the whole podcast about that, because that also wouldn't be responsible. But it is a possibility. The Mavericks have no draft capital from 2027, 2030. Nico clearly, in his own words, has said that he anticipates him staying for the rest of his contract, which is 3 years, and he's trying to win a championship within that window. He traded Luka, in his words, to win now. He, wouldn't logic also follow, okay, I don't want to develop Cooper Flagg turned 18 a couple months ago.
So here's
where does 18-year-old development fit into the Nico Harrison structure?
great. I'm glad you asked. And it's
I
really
think that's a fair question, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I think that we are allowed to ask that question.
Yes. And first of all, the Mavericks just released a video about 6 minutes ago of their lottery room, and they exploded. Like, Nico Harrison knocked over his chair.
This is huge.
This is huge because it, in a certain respect, it gives them the cushion to say we need more time. Because, guys, the offseason, after the Luka Doncic trade, every single thing that possibly could go wrong went wrong. Like, I don't really think there was a single thing that went correct. And that's just fair to say. It is what it is. And this is a real beacon of hope for a team that has extraordinary pressure to perform. Now, what makes this really fun for us is it does open up the entire vein of possibilities of trades of people on the roster and the pick. Because we've talked about this a little bit. The Mavericks are up against the salary, the first apron. And I think if they selected Flagg with how much the first overall pick gets paid based off of the salary, stuff right now, they would go over that apron. That's also before any sort of salary cap increase, but I don't necessarily think that matters. I think the apron is a certain level of high. Anyway, it just opens up possibilities where we're sitting here thinking, okay, the 11th overall pick, who might be there? And this is a interesting draft with a lot of talent, but also some very clear tiers where you get out of the top 3 to 4 and you have to start taking home run picks. And the Mavericks, as they were constructed, as they're currently constructed, have a team where an 18-year-old, in theory, 18-year-old X, create a player X, doesn't fit anywhere. I think now, understanding the type of player I believe Cooper Flagg to be, that simply changes the math. The Mavericks at this moment are hilariously big man heavy if you assume Flagg was to become a Dallas Maverick. And that just opens up a
Although, is he? I mean, he's more like a 3-4, right?
You want to know where my brain is? He's Andre Karolinko with a green light, with a greener light. Some NBA GM, an anonymous one over a couple weeks ago, said his offensive game reminds him of Kawhi Leonard. Well, Kawhi can't pass like this guy, but Cooper Flagg is a dog. Is he a Luka Doncic level offensive talent? Of course not. But he is the kind of guy who can give you spot minutes guarding every single position on the floor. He's somebody in the chat says he's not a 5. Come on. No, he's not. He's like a 3-4 hybrid, but can he give you spot minutes guarding someone at the 5 for just to go super small? I truly believe that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I think, I'm not a draft expert, so I don't want to be going over my skis here, but like
you're gonna
not,
love learning about.
No,
this.
I know from what I understand, he's not like Luka, LeBron level prospect, but he is not far away from like that Zion. He's like in that Zion, Ja Morant.
I'm not sure because
tier,
he's a defensive.
Or do you think he is? Or do you think he is close to that Luka, LeBron level prospect?
Yeah, he's not a Nike guy. That's so somebody noted that in the chat. He is actually a New Balance guy, which is legitimately hilarious that we're saying those words together. That a player is a New Balance guy. His calling card coming into his freshman year at Duke, and I follow this stuff just because I'm weird and I like knowing this stuff.
You love the draft.
I do. I always have. Now I'm not like a draft nerd, but I like following it.
And you got draft friends.
Draft friends for sure. It's like my buddy Brian, who we'll have on the show at some point. Just like he just texted me like, "What the fuck?" right after that. He knows, and it's like I don't want to get ahead of my skis either because I am not a Cooper Flagg expert, but I will tell you guys that his defensive instincts are the kind of thing that Nico Harrison was referencing.
Defense is his most like NBA ready attribute, isn't it?
I'm telling you what, man, a Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis front line with somebody else that can actually shoot a 3-ball. Holy shit. I mean, you got Lively, I guess, back there. I mean, this is the big ball stuff that Nico was envisioning. You know, we've been really hard on him because we don't necessarily think it's a sustainable winning model. But if you're, playing GM of the mind and looking ahead, brother, this guy is dope. I think given how challenging the West is, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, we're just going to, for the sake of argument right now, we're going to waffle back and forth between, are they going to trade the pick? Are they going to draft Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper? But right now, I really want to, I sort of want to pivot to, I think they want to keep the pick because I think he would allow them to play in certain ways. And, one of the things that's come to light in Mavs social media the last several days, I mean, we all know this, but it comes up as the summer drags along that, PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford are in the final years. They're entering the final years of their contracts. And the Mavericks, as we know, are an expensive team. They're going to have to figure something out. And when you have a player of this caliber, that gives you optionality, meaning Cooper Flagg. Like, he just gives you options to where, okay, you could trade PJ to a different team for a different outcome because you have a replacement. Yeah, Rolex says PJ could go.
Yeah, I don't want to. Tim Cato, DLLS, had mentioned something like he would not be surprised to see them keep the pick and then trade Flagg for that guard shooting help that they're going to need with Kyrie out.
Now, let's be clear. If they trade the pick, they're going to be facing a January 6th situation.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I know. In more ways than
part of why I don't want to engage too much in the
because it would be awful.
Because it would just be awful.
It would be awful for us too. Like, this is I was not joking when I said Adam Silver saved independent Mavs media for the next 10 years. People are kind of getting on to me about bringing up the possibility of trading him. And I just want to be clear. I know that I don't cheer and root for the team as much as I used to. If I leaned one way or another, it would be keep the pick because that is better for us. It would be way better for us to follow a franchise cornerstone.
Yeah, and
we just were with Luka. It would be so much better for us.
And Giannis,
I would prefer that.
Giannis Antetokounmpo soft launched I'm interested in moving from Milwaukee situation, and that just is another thing in the bag. Is that something that Harrison would even be interested in? Meaning, with the front office, what? Yeah. I don't know. I don't. Yeah,
and that's the thing is their trade ammo was pretty limited. Those conversations wouldn't if they kept the 11th pick. I don't even know if those conversations happen because with the Kyrie injury and their limited trade ammo, I don't know if they get in the door because part of it is they have to have an offer that's good enough. But another part of it is a Giannis or a Kevin Durant has to say, I want to go there. If they say, I don't want to go there, it doesn't matter how good the Mavericks offer is. They're not going to get him. So they were already kind of behind the 8 ball with the Kyrie injury because I have to imagine that would cool anyone's desire to want to come play in Dallas next season because next season is going to be pretty tough while they wait for Kyrie to get back on the floor. So the only way they could have gotten, I think, into those conversations is if they got Cooper Flagg, who I think is that type of prospect that you would move. A team would move maybe a Giannis, or they would move Kevin
And
Durant,
he has a
or
lot
they would
of
move a Devin Booker, or I don't know, take your pick of whatever trade rumor mill star. Now I'm not saying that they're going to do it. I'm just saying they have the ammo now, right? Like I don't know if Nico's going to do it, but if he called Milwaukee tonight and was like, "Hey, would you want Cooper Flagg? Like you're going to trade Giannis?" Like that starts a conversation that they couldn't have done yesterday.
Yeah, and we're a little unprepared. Well, I mean, we're very unprepared here to kind of talk about this at length, just because of sort of what I'm describing here. It's so much is sort of in flux for us, our staff. You know what? I want to circle back on this after a short break. We've been here. If you guys will do me a favor, I'm going to try to insert some ads. If you guys haven't joined our show in a while, I am going to host a secondary show. We have some new intro music. I'll play it during the break. There's some real, if you have takes or thoughts that you'd love to get off, I want to talk to you guys tonight. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to host a Friday show this week because I have to do field day at my son's school. So Josh and I are going to insert some ads here, at least we hope. The ad system's been goofy for me. And then we will be right back to sort of talk about other stuff. That was mostly for our audio folks. Thank you so much for listening. For those of you who are here live on the stream, I very much appreciate you. Guys, if you're returning to our show after a bit of a hiatus, welcome back. I don't blame you. If you are still out on the show but wanted to hear what we had to say, we appreciate you stopping by. This is a complicated time in Mavs fandom. It's a complicated time in just sort of sports fandom generally for the Dallas area. There's just a lot going on all the time. The Wings drafted Paige Beckers. They Maverick. There's just a lot of basketball. It's
both Dallas basketball franchises get the #1 pick within months of each other.
And I want to say Worldwide Wob did the math on it, and it's like a 0.04% chance. Like it's very statistically unlikely that it happens.
Yeah, because the Wings weren't the favorite to get the #1 pick, right?
No.
Yeah.
And we'll, I'm not.
I told you though, this is your
my buddy Matt Moore.
This is your Dirk year. Things are going to be coming up this year.
True. I turned 40. I turned 41 today, so happy birthday to me. That's pretty exciting. My household did have hand, foot, and mouth this weekend though, so I feel like I've earned the #1 pick in that way. So one of the things I did want to note out about like what our staff was sort of planning on doing is like I sought out like 4 new guys to help us with draft coverage, and they have all this cool stuff planned.
Yeah, all these players that we don't need to cover now.
I think I'm gonna bully into just doing it anyways because it's fun.
Yeah.
Also, what if we had the Sixers second round pick right now? Whatever. We're gonna have, we're still gonna do some fun draft content because I really like writing about the draft. I like reading. Jeremiah Fears was sort of my guy I was angling for at 11. Now, seeing how big he was today at the combine, I don't think he's gonna be there at 11. And there's a lot of stuff. And it's like if you're interested in the future of the NBA, the draft is just a great time to latch on. And we were gonna have some content. We will definitely have some fun content with Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper on the prospect range. There's just a lot.
It's really funny that everyone gives you so much shit for being maybe a sourpuss now and again. And seriously, like outside of like watching the games, your favorite thing about the sport is the draft, which is like the definition of optimism and hopefulness. Mm-hmm. Like anything could happen with the draft, and that's part of why you like it. You like these sort of mystery, I mean, not all of them are. The
2020 draft was so freaking funny. And like we were all in like every single person in America and Mavs fandom was like in a terrible headspace because we'd all been trapped at home, and we had a great time hoping and covering that draft. And we had 3 picks, and all 3 of them turned out to be not great. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. And
when every draft expert, by the way, was like, "Good draft."
So like,
what are we supposed to do?
One of my sourpuss friends who's not a Mavs fan, but in a different basketball group chat, is like, well, what if this guy doesn't hit his ceiling? And it's just like, then so what? So what? I don't care right now. Like right now, I am so psyched to have the opportunity to talk about different stuff. Like you guys may not believe me, and I get it if you don't believe me, but I didn't sign up to talk about Nico Harrison being shitty at his job. That has like when I'm mad, it's really fun, but
that's fleeting.
that it's an emotion that you're here for community, you're here for good basketball. I'm not here for the suits. And if Nico Harrison has to stay Mavericks GM and they try to put together a good team, so be it. If I don't have to talk about him for several weeks, that would be great. We can talk about Flagg. We can talk about Harper. We can even make jokes about how Nico will want to draft Ace Bailey, who I can't wait for you to learn about because he's like a hooper's hooper. It's really fun there.
Yeah,
and so we're just we're here.
Yeah, the one thing my thing about Flagg that I like, just to get it back to talking about him, because you're right. Let's talk about that. No sense in talking about the other possibilities until we think it could be more of a possibility than other than just spitballing. But like the one thing I like about Flagg, and again, this is coming from someone who has barely watched him, but like I think it says something. Maybe this is me being like getting more old manny, and maybe getting a little more ball don't stoppy. But like his NCAA tournament, even though they kind of choked the championship game, was genuinely impressive with the way that he kind of raised his game. Like Dylan Harper didn't make the tournament, and I know that's not on him. And college sports is very weird right now. Like you can't blame guys necessarily for being the reason that a team underperforms. But there's just something kind of refreshing about seeing the guy before the season is like, this is going to be the consensus best player in college basketball. That will be the number 1 overall pick. Lead his team to have a great 1-seed season, and then dominate the NCAA tournament, lead his team to the championship. They didn't win. That sucks. But he played very well in that championship game, and he did it on a hurt ankle. Like, there's just something about watching that is like, it sounds kind of old-fashioned and like old man, caveman, like sports analyst brain. But there's something, I don't know, I feel like he's got kind of the juice, so to speak. That's something that you can't quantify in analytics or data, even though his analytics and data are very, 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 very good. But that combined with the fact that his team won and won a lot, when in the one and done era of college basketball, you haven't seen that too much. Funny enough, like Anthony Davis was one of the last ones that really kind of went, start to finish on a college basketball season, and then it was the number 1 overall pick. But I don't know. There's just something cool about that. Like he genuinely seemed to raise the level of his game to meet the moment every time the moment called for it.
A lot of elements of this, and like I don't want to say anything dumb, but we're just gonna kind of have it's part of the story. He's going to be the first white American-born player drafted number 1, assuming that's what the Mavericks do, in like 50 years. And he comes from a part of the country that is not known for basketball, Maine. His high school, like AAU circuit team or whatever, like they were shockingly dominant, despite him being the main player of note. And they were called the Main Event, I think was the name of the team. Really,
that's a great name.
They came here and they played in the tournament in Duncanville 2 years ago, and I was just shocked. Like then the secondary factor is how young he is.
Yeah, because he reclassified to get into this draft.
He does not turn 19 until December of this year, 7 months from now, for those of you who can't do math. He went to the Team USA before France, before the Olympics this last year, and practiced with Team USA. And they said
by accounts, he kicked some guys' asses.
He was 17 and a half. He was still 6 months then from being 18.
That kind of reminds me of, that's like the LeBron, Luka, Dirk, like men among boys kind of thing, which is also like a great comparison.
He is a dog. And whether or not he had, like, I'm still a little, I don't want to speak to what his skill level ceiling is, but you just have to not, like, this guy has a high floor and a high ceiling. And that's a
That makes sense.
really fascinating number one pick. Now, what is that ceiling? Can he ever be, we're just talking, it's so great talking like this. This is ridiculous. Can he ever be the number one option on offense for a championship basketball team? I have no idea.
He was the number one option on a championship caliber college team. I don't know if that counts for anything.
So I'm just not willing to rule anything out right now.
Dude, 21-7-5 with 2 blocks and almost a steal per game in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. To get all the way to the championship game.
You're going to like if you actually decide to do any sort of deep dive on him, you're going to cackle.
Yeah. I've watched enough. He's good. The only thing is he looks a little shorter on the floor than I thought when people described him to me.
Well, so
that doesn't matter.
Did you see the combine measurements for him today?
No, what were they?
Without shoes, 6'7" 3/4.
Okay, that's good.
So yeah, and so we have a new gentleman in the chat. I think his name's the Dude, where he's been just sort of emphatically noting that maybe his best role is the 3. I have no idea, but I will say that like skilled size is what wins the day in the NBA. We've been watching these Cavs fall apart in the playoffs because of injuries because they don't have any actual wings. That's kind of a dirty little secret that
it's been the Warriors kind of like when their titles, everyone was like, oh, small ball, it's all about small ball. And it's like it's not small ball, it's being still being big and skilled. Like that's what you just said.
Yeah, and that's what made Luka such a bear to play against. Now, right. I'm gonna love, like, this was my favorite part of the early Luka years, and I think I wrote about this like towards the end of his rookie year, where it's like the best part is like the wish fulfillment of what a guy could be
before
expectations really take root, and you get all the stuff like you're watching it with SGA right now. Which shout out to SGA for once again finding out that the playoffs are harder than the regular season. But I get kind of grossed out by the constant teardown. Like some dudes I get sick of, and I'm like, you know what, fuck that guy. But like there's just like there's an intense desire to tear down whoever is making a run. And like that's just not why I watch this stuff. I watch for my guy and I wrote about that again when with my Fire Nico letter, where it's like I am now hyper invested in the potential of Cooper Flagg, and like that feels really good, man. It feels really good. What do you think?
No, it does feel really good. I mean, it gives us selfishly, it just gives us something to talk about. It's interesting. It doesn't because again, the bill is coming, right? They don't have any draft picks to close the decade. They're
no.
Although maybe maybe they will now, though. I mean, with Cooper Flagg, like if they keep Cooper Flagg, maybe some of those pick swaps aren't going to be swapped because those aren't going to be bad picks.
I remember I watched. God, what is it? It's the Great Civil War novel. Fuck. Why is it? It's. I'll deal with it tomorrow, is what the lead actress says, and it's like we'll deal with that later. I honestly had completely blanked out of my mind that they don't have draft picks for 4 years for the last 30 minutes.
So we were staring down the barrel of even if this team is interesting in 2 to 3 years, like that's it though. Like it's over after that. So now even if that bill comes due, the fact that they're going to have, presumably. Yeah. We'll have Cooper Flagg to get them through it. So maybe that those picks don't sting as much that they give away. Because the 2027 is when it starts. So you got this 2025, 2026. So you got this season and next season basically. So if Cooper Flagg by his second or third year is starting to approach an all-star level player, that's the kind of prospect he is, I think, be an all-star by year 3, maybe even year 2. It's a broken record, but it's like a get out of jail free card. Like everyone's saying it, but it's true. So, and that's what I'm excited. Like, I get to talk about the basketball. Like if they keep him, like if they don't keep him, then I have to talk about this BS for even longer. And it's just going to keep dragging it down. Like if they just make the pick and they pick him, or even if they pick someone else, we can talk about the basketball, which is the stuff that I want to talk about. Because it's
Yes.
really, like, it is really, like you said earlier, it is really interesting. Like, if they pick Cooper Flagg with Lively, Gafford, Davis, PJ, they're gonna have to make some moves. Like, maybe they trade PJ, maybe they don't. But like, there's pieces, and they can shuffle some things up, even with Kyrie being hurt, that they can make some interesting lineups and do some interesting things. And that's what I would much rather talk about, instead of, fans protesting about a general manager or people canceling their season tickets. Not saying that's not stuff like we need to talk about it, because
That's right.
It's what's happening. But we would much rather talk about other stuff. I'd rather talk about the games, and I think this kind of re-energizes that feeling.
Well, this means you're going to have to watch at least one summer league game, which I find patently hilarious, because
that's awesome. I love summer. I don't love, summer league basketball is objectively horrific, but it's fun. But it's like fun. Like I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it's there for sickos. And now, like the Lively summer league was awesom. He played. It was like, that was fun. The Dennis Smith summer
even if
league
it's just
was
like
fun.
1 or 2 games, you soak it up. Josh and I were going to talk about some of the recent news, but you actually just said something. So the Mavericks fired a couple of members of their training staff. I don't feel like bringing anything down. We've not addressed any of this stuff because Josh and I just weren't around. I think, today's Monday, or no, it's not that. Yeah, today is Monday. Maybe later in the week, if we have the juice, we'll come back and do a second show, because I really want to, we're towards a point in the calendar where I would like to, review some of the players' seasons like we talk about, and really, like, we've not really had a post-mortem yet, because it's been so difficult to process that a part of me was like, let's just move on and not acknowledge it. But now that there's something to look forward to, I think maybe looking back might be at least, worthwhile a little bit, because you look back to figure out, the best ways forward. So maybe Josh and I'll do that. I'm going to hang out here and do a second live show, or do a live show with you guys, if you guys have thoughts of what you would like to, just anything. I've not done one in a couple, in at least 10 days. So I'll post that link in the comments, and you guys can come join, and we will hang out, maybe for at least another half hour or so. I would like to go spend some time with my wife. It is my birthday, and but whatever. So we'll be back here in a little bit. If Josh, you got anything before you want to go?
No, I hope you have a good live show. I know most of your live shows have been in response to something traumatic happening. So I hope everyone needs to have some fun. Let off some steam. Like, seriously, I'm glad that there's some. We've talked to Mavs fans who obviously told us, I'm peacing out, and we're like,
yes,
do it, like totally do it. But there were some that were like, I can't. Like, I want to, but I can't.
That's right.
So I'm happy for those fans that feel like they needed to stick it out. You need a little reward. That's great.
All right, Josh, and I'll be back in just a minute. Thank you so much.
You guys have fun tonight.
Hanging out. This has been Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe. We've been doing, I'll call this a Mavs party, and then I'll just call the other one a Mavs party as well. I had no idea. I didn't have time to make any of the graphics. So
I know.
We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. And everybody who's here on, stick around and join me live.
Final attack point. Mavericks inbound.
It's Pod Maverick. Maverick. Hosted by Kirk Henderson and Josh Bowe.
Back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kirk Henderson. This is an episode of Mavs Party. We're joining you here on Monday, May 12th. It's a little before 9 p.m. The Dallas Mavericks have won the NBA draft lottery, and I want your reactions. Josh Bowe and I just did our own live show reacting to the news in our typical kind of healthy mix of Eeyore and happy tones, because that's just the way we are. But guys, we're excited. We want you to be excited, and more importantly, we want you to be excited with us. So if you want to, please click the link in the live show. It's a pinned comment in the YouTube. If you're listening on the audio stream later, please come subscribe to our show. You can get notifications for when we go live, and we will talk basketball for a little while. It's really nice to talk about basketball. So coming up first, I'm just going to go in order tonight, the order of people joining. We got my man Tyler coming up first. Tyler, what's happening, Tyler? Mavs Moneyball contributor Tyler.
What is up, man? How are you?
Are you a game show host? Tell me about this. What's going on with this mic? This is beautiful.
No, so it's from my old podcast setup when me and my buddies used to do a show, and I still have it laying around. So easy enough.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm glad you're here. Tell me what you're thinking.
So it was very similar to the feeling I had, funny enough, when Luka actually got traded, in terms of like, holy shit, I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this one being more of the excited variety than, the other one was more like, kind of doom and gloom and where in the absolute hell do we go from here? But, it is funny. You talked about it with Josh, how some of us who have joined in on the draft Slack have been, having all these grand ideas about player profiles and mock drafts and, things we can do.
Holding you too, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, you still want those? Okay.
Yeah, because look, the draft, like Josh nailed it. Like the draft is about hope, and like beyond the fact that I think in the coming days and weeks we're going to have to reconcile the fact that Nico Harrison is capable of doing anything. I think that then provides us the ability to say this is why we're writing about Jeremiah Fears or whoever else is in the lottery that we're interested in.
Yeah, and so beyond the initial shock, like Flagg's just a phenomenal player. Like I did a lot of NCAA tournament stuff for the site, and so I kind of briefly dug into some of the stuff he was good at. But he was
good at basketball.
Yes, he just knows how to play. Like you see it defensively, he's not the most athletically gifted guy that's ever lived, but my God, is he knows the spots he needs to get to, beats players to the spot, has really good hands. Like he's just an insanely good basketball player. And the fact that we were able to luck into this pick is incredible. And it's not lost on me that we beat out the Spurs, them being the second pick, like the big bad
those guys.
World.
Like fucking hell. Like I know they actually had pretty good odds to join, and I shouldn't be this angry about it, but it's like, come on.
Yeah. Oh, well. I mean, it's ridiculous. They're the team that's going to be Giannis. I mean, that's neither here nor there, but the amount of young talent they have 2 lottery picks because they got Atlanta's as well. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it just lines up. Giannis is going to be in the division, and we're just going to have to reconcile that. But at least we've got Flagg now, and he's a unicorn, man. He's phenomenal. I can't wait to dig in and kind of watch more of him. Because I got to watch him a lot as kind of just a fan, but now getting to dive into the basketball part of it to see how he can fit in, it's just going to be fantastic. I truly can't wait. Me and David were talking in Slack earlier. We're gonna have to do the summer league trip.
Are you okay? I'm gonna be there already, so we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. Maybe a live show together. Where several years ago I recorded one with one of our guys who's moved on to a new job. And we recorded from my car when it was 110 degrees. It was really just top-notch basketball work. But yeah, I'm really excited. You should go. If there's a year to go, this is going to be it, even if he only plays like a game.
I was about to say he's probably going to play the early games, I would assume, if he plays any. So definitely
they haven't scheduled any of that. No, they will absolutely put early part of the week. Yeah, you're right. Like probably Friday, Saturday. I mean, I may have to rejigger my schedule to figure out when I'm going. It's very annoying.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Just one other thing, kind of roster wise, is AD going to be able to play 5? Do you think? Because Flagg, he's 6'9", like he's not small in shoes, at least. I know whatever they came out with at the combine today, you add an inch to that with shoes, but it's PJ doesn't really have necessarily a huge spot in there if they still consider starting Clay. They obviously
There's
still
so
need
many things.
Like there's a lot that's going to go on with this roster.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to figure out. Now they have like real choices. It's fantastic.
Exactly. Now the choices that they have are, it's just so unique. I forget who it was. They were talking about Nico job security wise, and it's like all of a sudden, in the matter of literally 30 minutes, the Mavs GM job went from one of the most least desirable to one of the more desirable jobs in the NBA again.
Yep. Yeah, it's really something, man. Tyler, thanks for kicking us off. You're the best.
Thank you. Happy birthday. I'm glad your Dirk year is off to a fantastic start.
It really is. It really is. I hope I don't get fired from my real job tomorrow or something weird like that. So, all right. Talk soon. Thanks, man.
See you, dude.
Okay, so we're going to be going in order of people joining the room. I am getting close to the number of people that can max out the waiting room. So if you get like a annoying thing, just understand that like I will get you up here at some point. So coming up next, Patrick. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. You sound great. Talk to me.
Well, congratulations to all of us. We went from having a dark black pit in our heart to basically just being Dallas Cowboys fans, where we love the team and hate the leadership. So that's our lives now.
That's right. That's right.
I'm curious if how you think this impacts free agency. Who we go after, money. I know you don't like to talk about the money stuff.
That's
but
okay.
Yeah,
it's a good question in that free agency. The Mavericks, Kyrie has the ability to opt out. Then you have PJ Washington and what's wrong with me? Who's our other big man besides Lively? Gafford are heading into the final years of their deals. So there's just a lot of, depending on how you look at it, they have either they have a lot of flexibility or they have hard choices to make. And they're also right up against the the first apron, which is a artificial construct of the salary cap where if you go over it, it really limits your flexibility, is sort of just the basic understanding of it. So anything that they would do in sort of the let's just call it like the not necessarily free agency and so much as like between the draft, free agency and beyond, where they have the ability to reconstruct their roster, they have a lot of options. And that's why, like Josh in our previous show, Josh sort of like led off with talking about the potential of trading the pick, because to him, there is the team is under a lot of pressure to do well quickly. And so that's what I see is if you're looking at it from and I think you should, I think for right now, everybody should be in an optimist mode. If you're in an optimist place, you should say, okay, now the Mavericks go from being under a lot of pressure and not having a lot of options to being under a lot of pressure, but the optionality now somehow feels like an asset as opposed to a burden. Does that make sense?
Yeah, especially with this front office.
Sure.
All right, final question. How can I convince my brother that Cooper Flagg's not Christian Laettner or JJ Redick or any other American white guy, Keith Van Horn? Like, what makes him different?
It's a great question. I'm not enough of a Cooper Flagg expert to answer it fully, but I will say that having watched him on the high school circuit for several years now, he is a man that will be at home in the NBA and will be at home in these high pressure environments. I think he is a very, very good athlete. And that is sort of was really a differentiating factor for a guy like Laettner. Also, it's just basketball's played differently now. I would kind of more, I mentioned this earlier, my brain comp is Andrei Kirilenko with a offensive green light. And that is in Kirilenko, for anybody who watched him, in his stint, was just a multi-tooled player that I think in today's NBA would have gotten a lot more burn. Hey, just a quick note, guys, if you're trying to join the room and you can't, try beginning the bit. I've got a lot of people to work through. So does that answer your question, Patrick?
Yes. Unfortunately, half of it was cut off, but I'll listen back to the pod and get
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No. It's my connection. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you for your time. Go Mavs, fire Nico, and yeah, let's go. Thanks a lot.
All right. Talk soon. Coming up next, my old friend Jordan. Jordan hasn't joined the show in forever because he does his own stuff a lot of the time. Jordan, what's going on, buddy? Unmute yourself.
Hey. So yeah, I did have a draft show going on, and it was live, and so you can watch me like explode on the draft stack if you want to look at our YouTube
draft
channel.
stack. Got it.
and absolutely explode when I realized that we get the number 1 pick. So that was awesome.
Good for you. I was at baseball practice. I was like, I can't do this right now.
I would say the main difference, to answer that last question, between Cooper and Leitner is the athleticism, but also the defense. Like, Cooper is a defensive first prospect. Like, that's the main thing that separates him from everybody else.
Like, if you're worried about Nico Harrison drafting him, my answer would be this is the kind of defensive player that Nico would argue for.
Yeah. So my comp for him all year has been taller Jaylen Brown. Like,
okay.
So he scored and even shot, and like all of his statistical profile compares really, really well to Tatum as far as like when they were both at Duke. But Cooper is a much better athlete even than Tatum. So that's very difficult to try to just looking at the statistics. And also just if you look at him, you don't think he's going to be that level of athlete until he yams on somebody. And then you're like, oh my. So, yeah, he's just a much better defensive player. The shot is the question with him, which I was saying earlier in the year. I was like, yeah, I guess, Tatum was a better shooter. But when you actually look at Tatum's Duke numbers, he actually shot pretty similar to Cooper.
So my sort of layman take on this is I didn't expect Flagg to be as offensively polished as he ended up being. Is my thought.
In high school, he was the best defensive high schooler I've ever watched. Yeah. And not even close. He's like, as far as like in the right place, but also his anticipation and the physical tools combined. Absolutely incredible. But when he got to Duke, he definitely was a whole lot better of a scorer, not just because the passing was there in high school, but the scoring went up a whole nother level. I mean, he broke Michael Jordan rookie scoring records. So, or freshman scoring records. So, it's very different. It was very unexpected that we get him. I told my wife that this is the second happiest sports moment of my life, right behind actually winning the championship. And then when we got Luka. So
it's the best. Hey man, thanks for joining us once again. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. See you.
Drive safe. All right. Talk soon. All right. Coming up next is my man, Matt. Matt, welcome to the show. Matt, you there?
Kirk.
Good to see you. What's going on?
Dude, I just can't believe this night. I mean, it's hard to believe that I'm still a basketball fan of the Dallas Mavericks in the first place.
Yeah.
I almost didn't even turn on the draft, and then we're 10 minutes into it, and they just kind of go through it, man. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I just can't believe that we finally had some good luck. So hopefully the front office doesn't mess it up,
I can understand feeling that way. The moving up part, I don't know why. I had a real feeling that they would move up, but I did not think one. I was more like, oh, they're going to move up to like 3 or 4, and then I'm going to be an angry bitch for like a month as they pick someone that I don't want them to pick.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and it's like, what kind of psycho would you have to be to even like dive into Cooper Flagg as a Mavericks fan right now anyway? So it's kind of a new thing to uncover. I mean, I don't watch a whole lot of basketball, but I know that dude's a stud from what it sounds like.
What I recommend doing is there's a lot of high school highlight tapes on YouTube with him, and he's really fun to watch. This isn't a fair comparison because Draymond Green is a Hall of Fame defender,
right?
But what I enjoyed watching him do in high school was make guys afraid to come within 15 feet of the basket. He was like an apparition who would just come out of nowhere and block people. And then you don't want to say like sneaky athleticism for a white dude, but like he would just do stuff where all of a sudden he's dunking. You're like, oh, okay, this is great. This is great.
Yeah. Okay. So that's my next question is, is he a primary ball handler? Can he do that at the next level, do you think?
It's a fun question. It's a fun question in that, the NBA executive who went off record to say that Flagg's game reminded him of Kawhi. Kawhi's isolation game was much better than I understood it to be.
Okay.
So I don't want to limit him for what he can and cannot do. I don't think you ever want him initiating the offense. I think you want him finishing the offense. But what he does have a nice package to where he is a willing and able passer. He's a fairly complex offensive player, but I don't know what you would say is like his go-to thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It seems like it's kind of difficult to come up with a really solid comp for him.
Which is great. That's the most fun, actually. That's why I like the Andre Kirilenko thing, because I had never seen a player like Andre Kirilenko. So
AK-47. Yeah. Yeah, that dude was tough. He was tough. Well,
God. It seems
man.
Jason Taylor down with a non-contact injury. Hope he's okay.
Oh gosh. Well, dude, Kirk, hey, first of all, happy birthday, man. I won't keep you any longer. But man, I love what you do. We'll listen to you all the time like a true psycho. So
that's the best, Matt. Thank you so much for joining. Okay. Talk soon.
All right, man.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. I'm going to be moving through, folks. Got a lot of people trying to join the room. So if I punt you or cut you off, it is not personal. Michael, Mavs Moneyball contributor. Michael Harris. How you doing, bub?
How are you, man? Happy
You're
birthday.
not writing. You're joining my show. How dare you? No, I'm just kidding. What's going on?
You know what? I was writing while I was in the waiting room. So
see, that's why I love you guys. What's going on? Talk to me. Tell me what you're feeling and thinking.
Look, we'll keep it quick. You got a big queue ahead. You don't need to hear from me any more than you already do. But I couldn't miss this one on a night like this, and it's amazing, man. It's been a hell of a 3 months that this team has been through, and now they've got to alter their franchise yet again, it seems like, and I'm excited to see it. I'm on the bandwagon that they're keeping the pick for a multitude of reasons, and you all can tune into Mavs Moneyball.
You have been very consistent. I have to give you credit. In our very cynical Mavs Moneyball Slack, for about 3 weeks, you've been saying the Mavs are getting the number 1 pick. Like, you weren't saying they were moving up. You're like, they're getting the number 1 pick, which is fantastic.
You know, and I wish I could predict the lottery numbers for, like, the actual money.
The actual lottery.
The actual, state lotto.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to lie. I had just a weird feeling about it. And I'm certainly not going to boast about being right because, come on, But I did have a funky vibe. I said it on the Slack channel right before the show kind of kicked off, not this show, the lotto show, obviously. And when it happened, it wasn't quite as out of body an experience as the Luka trade was, but it was like, I literally didn't get excited. I was just like, yeah, no, that totally is exactly what would happen this year. Like, how could anything but this happen to the Mavericks this year, But yeah, you could probably search for some spiritual, understanding for this sort of thing, or attribute it to some religious intervention, or God knows what. I'll leave it to the viewer to decide. But yeah, man, it's a crazy thing, and I guess I just want to point out the one thing that really hit me, not to harp too much on Nico Harrison, but it's like, for a guy who became what he became in such a short period of time, there's some sense of redemption here. Not that he didn't do anything to earn this or dictate the terms of this, but it's amazing how something like this could very well turn the whole tide on who he is and how he's perceived, how this trade could be perceived. You think about it, it's been, up until this point, 100% of our time was Luka Doncic traded, so to speak. Now, over the next few years, assuming Flagg is here for at least the next 4 years on a rookie deal, they don't trade the pick, whatever, that trade window of 3 months is going to be a small microcosm of this whole thing, where Cooper Flagg, or God knows what we could potentially get for him if they did trade the pick, which I don't think they'll do, that's going to become the narrative. This could have been a decade-long narrative that we traded Luka, Nico's an idiot. McMahon reported on an anonymous GM in the West saying he'll never get another job in the NBA, and now maybe all
right. No,
you can't make this stuff up, man. I've been watching the NBA for many, many years, and I can't think of anything as crazy as the last 3 months. I really can't. But
it's been a lot.
But here we are, man.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for joining.
Happy birthday. Thanks for having me. And go Mavs.
All right. Talk soon. I love now we're already facing crazy takes to my man Jack Chan saying Cooper's ceiling is higher than Luka. I just that's audacity and I love it. That's what we're here for. It's not true, but hey, whatever. My man John coming up next. John, talk to me.
What's up, man? It's been a minute.
That's right. Good to hear from you. Welcome back.
I've not been able to watch Mavericks basketball. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I've contributed to the viewership.
I got to tell you, you haven't missed much. They lost a bunch of games, and Josh and I had to find new and difficult ways of talking about it.
And I appreciate y'all doing so. So something I've been thinking about tonight. First of all, insane. Everything about it. Cooper Flagg is all. So I live in North Carolina, and I've been a bunch of UNC fans. I went to Duke for grad school. I hate Duke as a team, but I wound up watching Cooper Flagg a lot. And yeah, he's just legit. Like, he's just good. Like, it's just obvious watching him that he's on another level and is so NBA ready. I like the Andre Kirilenko comparison. Something I've been thinking about tonight is, we've talked a time or two about like leadership or just bosses. Or the way that, like I work in nonprofit world, you've got experience there. I genuinely wonder if Nico Harrison is actually maybe, and this is not me jumping on Michael's Nico Harrison redemption. I wonder if Nico just genuinely hated Luka, like, as a person.
I think so.
And
that's not a wonder. That's what I think.
I know he definitely, like, I almost wonder if Nico might actually be okay at his job as a job, but hated Luka as a person. And so he's using the 3-year window as like an excuse, or as like I'm only here. Analogy.
Did you see my gambling analogy? Yeah, like you're a good Christian boy. My gambling analogy might have gone over your head, but I basically said that.
No, it's legal in North Carolina. I'm in.
If you look at what Nico did or tried to do. Let's just start with the Kyrie, Jalen Brunson part, which I blame more on Cuban, but that's whatever. Every single trade that they made was an all-in move. He went all in for Kyrie, paid off. He went all in for what's his name? Washington Wizard, and then became a Buck. What's his the Kyle Kuzma? And Kyle Kuzma said he didn't want. Kyle Kuzma basically nullified the bet.
Yeah.
And then he went all in for PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, and it worked out. And so he thought, you know what? I'm on fire. I know what I'm doing here, is what I think he thought. And so he went all in once again, pushing for Luka Doncic, and he ended up in this place. And you know what? We're about to see. I mean, I'm still firmly of the opinion that if I'm goofy Patrick Dumont, I'm watching the reactions tonight, and I'm firing Nico tomorrow and starting over fresh. That's just my take, though. If you're a Nico Harrison guy, I don't want to argue with you tonight. Let's save it till next week.
Yeah. Dumont just got a get out of Nico free card. like he's literally like, you have a chance. And also you can, I think Cuban overestimate and again, I'm like so excited. I am so amped. I don't want to be talking about Nico that much, but as it pertains to the future of the Mavericks, you have a chance now to bring in people who know what they're doing. I actually do think, for all his faults, Cuban knew the NBA. Like, he knew how basketball works. He knew how fandom worked. Like, I didn't agree with his decisions all the time, but like, as an owner, he was involved and invested in a way that Nico then kind of made sense, because he knew Kyrie, he knew PG, he like had the relationships.
Yep.
And yeah, there is a real chance for a reset.
Yeah, like a spiritual reset. Like you just
it's incredible. Yeah. And I think I was texting some buddies. I will save it from the podcast to keep your channel from getting banned as to what they should do to Nico Harrison to get rid of him. But they should fire. Publicly get rid of him beneath the Dirk statue. And I'm really excited. I will be, and I miss Luka still. I miss him so much. but
You're
Cooper
allowed.
Flagg is a guy. Yeah, I genuinely can't believe that I feel excited about Dallas Mavericks basketball again this quickly.
Be nice, man.
It feels so lucky, and yeah, that was kind of my take, was that I don't think Nico is maybe. I think he has justified the Luka trade based on a personal grievance or weird personal thing, and maybe he's not as bad as we've made him out to be. And to your point, he gambled a lot. But who knows? So this next few weeks are about to be awesome. I'm invested again. I'm back.
Good.
I'm back in. I love it. Happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
Get to your
Talk
next.
soon, okay?
Get to your next person. Yeah. All right. See you, dude.
All right, I'm going to insert some ads here for the audio listeners the next day, and then I'm going to bring up my man Simon. Still got a lot of people somehow. I love you guys. You're the best. Who wants to talk basketball this long? So listen to those ads, and then I will be right back and bring up Simon. All right, we're back. If you guys haven't smashed that subscribe button, I just said smashed. I'm a 41-year-old white guy. Why am I saying this? If you could please click the subscribe button and join my channel, I would be very appreciative of you, and thank you for your support. Coming up next is my guy Simon out in DC. Simon, we're not talking. How we doing?
Hey, Kirk. First of all, did I hear earlier it was your birthday?
Yes.
Happy birthday. I'm not sure what you got as gifts today.
I'm drinking white wine like a divorcee.
All right. I know I kind of want to look at this through three different lenses. All right. I have 3 points I want to hit.
I'm not going to talk, but you be quick. Okay. I know you.
All right. I know you said I'm verbose. I'm going to try to be quick. So number one, I'm sure I know this is not going to do anything to quell any conspiracy theories that anybody might have had about Luka getting traded. So I want to ask you, and you know, I know you kind of speak for the fan base. Would you have felt differently about the trade at the time if you knew that this was the outcome?
No.
Okay. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
I just to answer the question as to why. As of this moment, I thought Luka was going to be super special, but I also thought Luka wasn't going to be an all NBA player until he was like 27 or 28, not 21. So
right. Yeah.
I can't compare the two players because it's not fair to either one.
No. And I don't think, and that was my next point, was to talk about like Cooper Flagg as a prospect before getting into like what, you know, kind of where Dallas goes from here.
Yep.
Because you mentioned a lot about, you know, his high school tape. And interestingly enough, the guy that I most often comped him to, ironically, was Anthony Davis.
Yep.
In terms of the, you know, he's not quite as tall and long as Davis is.
Davis was a world wrecker in college. Like he was such a obvious number one pick. Yeah.
And Cooper Flagg wasn't quite that.
I agree.
But he does compare to Davis in the sense I think he has more offensive polish than Davis did when he came out of Kentucky, even though like I think Davis still projected as an offensive hub because everybody could see like the fluidity of movement and everything like that he would develop his offensive game.
I agree.
But his block rate was off the charts. And Cooper Flagg, honestly, like I think what did he average? Maybe like 1.7, 1.8 blocks, which is good, but it's not like all world record, which I thought coming into Duke, he would be averaging probably 2.5 to 3 blocks just based on his footage of high school, where like he would come from the weak side and he was like a condor. It just like he would spread his arms out and you could see like his timing going after those blocks. So I really don't know what he projects as like.
That's so fun.
Yeah, but no, you're right. And you mentioned that before, and you're right. If you had to like compare him as a prospect to like, let's say guys in the last 10 years, 10 to 12 years or whatever, because there's a difference between like scouts hype versus media hype, right? With like LeBron James being a 10 out of 10 on both, right?
Yes.
A guy like Luka was probably he had a lot more scouts hype than he did media hype. Because if you really looked at like the draft nicks, they were like looking at his statistical projections, like, man, this guy is off the charts. But there a lot of people just couldn't see it, right, because of his body type. I mean, we're still, there that like you're right, the conversation was being had then, it's still being had now, but all of the statistical indications were that he was going to come in and dominate right away, and he did. Now he became even better than I thought he was. I thought he might be as good by the time he was 25 as he was at 21, like you said. I think he's a better prospect, Cooper is, than Tatum. Tatum, I think, outperformed his projection, at least for me, because I didn't think he was going to be as good an athlete as he ended up being, and he became a better 3-point shooter than I thought he would be coming out of Duke. I don't think Cooper Flagg is as good a prospect as Zion was. Now, just looking at Zion,
well, we were so excited about Zion because it was like, oh, what happens if you put a defensive end and make him? I mean, Zion was just an incalculably weird prospect because he was, but until he blew his shoe out at Duke, he was amazing, and then he just never really played the same after that.
I mean, he was pretty good in the tournament from what I remember. I mean, he once he came back from that
they were
injury,
a weird team. That was an odd team.
Yeah, that was an odd team. But the reason that he was so good as a prospect was his the fact that that Duke team had no shooting, and for him to still be able to get to the rim at the rate that he did and finish at the rate that he did was ludicrous. And he was like a 2-steal, 2-block a game guy. I mean, that's where he's really disappointed as a pro, is on the defensive end. I mean, offensively, whenever he's healthy, he's still a dominant player. It hasn't quite all come together for him, obviously, but I don't think Cooper like is more of an all-court player, but statistically, he was not as dominant as Zion was. I think he's a better prospect than Edwards was. He's obviously not as good a prospect as Wemby. I'm just kind of riffing here. I think he's a better prospect than Paolo.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting comparison. How about Chet? Like, I don't know if he's as good as Chet Holmgren.
Watching Chet play in these playoffs, I would have concerns, is where I'm going to be.
But the difference is that Chet was like a year ahead of his class age-wise when he came out, and Cooper's a year younger. So that's a big difference. But they do a lot of the same things. I think Cooper's got a little bit more offensive verve, but Chet is like 4 inches taller.
Yep.
So anyway, now pivoting toward Dallas. Okay. There's so many directions that they could go here, right? They could completely tear the team down, trade Anthony Davis, get a bunch of picks, get some young players, rebuild around Cooper, right? They could just add Cooper to the mix with what they have, or could they package him, go find Costas wherever he's at. I don't know where he's at right now. and pack and like put a package together with Cooper for Giannis.
I mean, that's where this offseason, like you're Josh and I kind of hit on this, but that's where you're nailing on the sheer versatility of what could happen over the next several weeks and I guess months if you get into free agency in July. That's great. It's wonderful.
What do you think? What would you put your GM hat on, Kirk?
I don't want Anthony Davis on the team. I'm so biased. I can't watch him try to do whatever weird shit he's trying to do. Like, he's such a talented player, but he's not for me. I can't deal with the long jumpers. I can't deal with the bad post-game quotes. I can't deal with the injuries. He is not soft. One thing I want to make crystal clear. I actually think he's tough as nails, but his body's just not for the NBA. And so, like, I would move him for whatever you can get and sort of really, really tear down and start over because, I mean, are you going to beat the once again, I mean, how many generational players have come to the Southwestern Division since in the last 8 years. It's absurd.
It's a lot.
Like, look at the Rockets. Like, and I don't want to get ahead of
I was thinking
ourselves.
they were
and,
going to
like,
get number 1 pick.
I don't want to bitch about like how cool this is, because it is. It's really cool. We should enjoy it. But also, the Southwestern Division is a murderer's row. So it's like, at what point do you just kind of tap the brakes and say, all right, we need to figure something out, because 2027 to 2030 is bleak. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
So okay, and I get your point about Anthony Davis, because like, as great of a player as he is, he doesn't inspire anything in anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's just. But would you? Okay, think about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trade Cooper and whatever. I don't know how you even make the salary work. I don't think you can trade. I don't think you could build a package around Anthony Davis to get Giannis. It would have to be Cooper. And I don't even know the salary stuff you could do to make that happen. But what if you could have a situation where you trade Cooper for Giannis, and then you trade Anthony Davis for like players that fit better around Giannis, and then you just retool the team around Giannis and go that direction? Or would you just prefer trade Anthony Davis and get some picks, get some young players, and just retool the whole thing, get the 27 to 30 picks back, or whatever they got to do, and just retool the whole thing around Cooper, and then, kind of nudge Kyrie into, I don't know what you do with him.
Honestly, Simon, this is such a tough question, because I hadn't considered this before 2 hours ago. So it's I really need some time to digest it. This is a good stuff.
Okay.
Good stuff though, man. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. Hey, let's do another live in a week or two when we both had time to digest this, and then we'll.
Yes. No. I mean, if I can, I have my kids' field day on Friday. Otherwise, I would do one on Friday, and I don't know. We'll see though. Thank you so much, man. We'll talk soon. All right.
Good stuff. All right. See you, man.
All right. My guy Glenn. I don't see him. I see the sun. No, he's putting me up into the sky. Glenn, how you doing, my man?
What is up, man? Yo, I didn't expect this at all. Not even a little bit. And
does it feel good? You're a long for folks who don't know, Glenn is a incredibly long time Mavs fan, and I'm not calling him old. Talk to me. Tell me what you were feeling.
I mean, I didn't feel anything for a while, because I was so numb with the reality that this was going to happen. And me and my dad were talking about this, and he was like, "It's going to happen." And I'm like, "There's no way. There's no way."
And I on the pod.
You were absolutely. I don't think it's anything that the league. I mean, I don't think the league orchestrated the trade, but I do think the league saw the massive outpour of outrage and decided to heavy-hand it. But what I really want to talk about is, I thought that there was a no-brainer they were going to bring back PJ Washington. No-brainer, because one, they're two. I mean, Gafford and PJ are extremely popular, extremely fan favorite players here. Both were probably going to ask for about $20 million, but
both are worth it.
They're worth it, but PJ's role is redundant now. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to pay him $20 million to play 15 minutes a game or 18 minutes. Cooper Flagg, and I know everyone's struggling with their comparisons of him, it's because he does a little bit of everything. He is a straight combination of Jaylen Brown's athleticism, Kawhi Leonard's smooth defensive transition, and he can take it to the basket better than PJ and all of them. He can give you 20 points a game and be a first team all defensive guy season one. And his athleticism he will be the number one best athlete we have on the team.
Athlete, really? Okay, interesting.
His physical attributes, his explosion, his vertical, he is like from baseline to baseline. When he tests, if he does the combine, which he probably won't.
They have to. They're all required to. It's the best part. I love it.
His vertical, and I mean, look, he is a better physical athlete than. He is on par with being a physical athlete as Omax. If you watch his game.
Okay. Yeah, and Omax is very athletic. He just doesn't have the control.
Which is what he has. Which Cooper has the control. Well, I mean, He his game. He can get to the basket. Like he's as aggressive as PJ is. His shot is about as good as PJ, maybe a little worse right now. But I mean, he's as athletic as Jaylen Brown, and he can play everywhere. He's going to be your starting 3, and probably Moonlight is your backup 4. Which means my concept is instead of signing PJ, we trade PJ and keep Gafford. Because there's no way they're going to get rid of AD. There's no way we go.
They have so many options, though. But it's an interesting one.
Well, because the reason why I'm saying you cannot trade Cooper, because if you do, one, Dumont does not trust Nico as much as he did before. 2, the fans will say you traded two generational talents and the calendar year of 4 months. Why would you do that? Plus, his cost control for his talent ability going forward, because he fits. I hate this now and later window. He's both. He can play do what PJ Washington does with the upsealing of Brown from the Celtics. So he is a now player and a later player, at only slotted at about $11 million, whatever his payday will be. He will be cost controlled for about 4 years. It does not make sense to trade for a Giannis who is a better version of AD when you already have AD.
I don't know. I could take both of them on the same team.
But then where's your floor spreading?
Oh yeah, because there's no, and Giannis makes so much money, you have to send a lot of guys out with him. Yeah.
And so my thing is, AD wants to play with 2 bigs. Keep Gafford. He's 26, just like PJ. He's a fan favorite, just like PJ. You keep Flagg to save face. He's not going to trade Davis because of his pride. So you package PJ, Clay, who's 37. It makes sense to send his old ass somewhere, and Hardy for a win now guard who can also play off guard. So congratulations. There's probably a chance we're going to get LaMelo Ball or somebody like that. That's probably what we're going to be getting back for some package of that. But I think we keep Gafford, and as much as I love PJ, I think it makes sense we can't sign both of them in this contract year.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a tough one. They have some challenges ahead of them. I'm glad I don't have to make the choices, but I am looking forward to talking about all the different options.
They have gifted Dallas podcast life, and I am so happy about it. Welcome back, Kirk.
Thanks so much, buddy. Talk soon.
All right.
All right. Coming up next, my man, SC. SC, what's happening?
What's going on, Kirk? How are you doing tonight?
The
dumb question. You're doing fine.
We're drinking together again. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm short and sweet. I have 2 things. One, immediately after they got the first pick, I called a buddy who is I don't know, we call them lapsed Mavs fans these days, where he's like, hey, I'm used to be really big. Luke trade happens. He's out. I call him. Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? He's obviously not paying attention to the lottery. And hey, Mavs got the first pick in the draft. And I hear the longest sigh I have heard from this man in a very long time. And he says, why did they do this to me? And that was about the end of our conversation for the evening. But I imagine that's how a lot of Mavs fans feel tonight. If you're not like super stoked initially, you're like, why are they bringing me back? Why are they doing this to me? Yep. And I'm cool with it. It's fine. I'm happy. Come back. Come watch the Mavs. Come hate watch them, I guess, or be into it. But Cooper Flagg can be fun.
And you should lean into the fun.
Exactly.
SC, thank you so much, man. All right. Talk soon.
See ya.
All right. SC's been joining me on my my Mavs happy hour show. Really pleased. I see a stranger that I'm bringing up next. Never heard from this man before, Krishna, who abandoned me after the Mavs drafted Luka. Krishna, what's happening?
Okay, the Mavs didn't draft Luka.
Look, come on, you did abandon me. I should ban you from the show.
I gotta be honest. I got a job.
Krishna. Boo. Just kidding.
I got a job in July, and since July, every sports team I follow has been absolutely abysmal. Kirk.
Well, at least you got work. How you doing? You doing okay?
I'm doing okay. Luckily, like my job is now stable, and somehow every sports team I follow is now more stable. It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Talk to me. Tell me what you're feeling.
As you can see, the man, we all made the calls. We made the calls. You can't see the phone, but The right calls were made. David Stern, the right successor. Everyone knows. Oh God. I was thinking about it. It was like every single wrong misstep you could take was made, and you somehow ended up in a spot where like pretty much what 18 other teams would be like where you would rather be if you had done what you had done up to this point.
Yep.
Every other team would rather be where you were.
Yep.
And it doesn't excuse anything that's happened, honestly. Like the best case scenario still obviously would have been keeping Luka. Like I need to make that clear. But everything that happened this season, like you and Josh talked about, everything that could go wrong, it felt like did go wrong, which is the insane thing. And somehow this has happened, and I still don't believe it. I was like driving, and then I just got the notification, and it felt very much like the Luka trade, where I looked at it and I thought, this is probably fake. Like I honestly thought it was fake for 5 minutes because I saw the DLL.
This is a good take. The fakeness. I was in my car and I nearly crashed, and then Josh yelled at me for pulling over to edit an article.
No, the same thing happened to me. I saw it because I got a notification from DLLS that they posted a short, and I was like, "Oh, this is fake. Why is Mark Tatum announcing this?" I'm like, "Why is Mark Tatum announcing?"
He always does. No, he actually always does.
He always does, but I don't know why in my brain.
Yeah, no, it looks weird.
Silver.
He doesn't.
Yeah,
he looks like an AI person. Like he looks like an AI creation.
He always smiles the same too every time he makes a pick. He's like, it's kind of scary, but I thought, okay, this is fake. Okay, making fun of Mavs fans. He's like, I get it. And then I pulled over and I realized this is not fake, and I still don't believe it, Kirk. If I'm being honest, I still don't really believe it. I still feel like we're being.
Well, we got plenty of time to really freak out about Nico Harrison trading the pick.
God, don't get me started.
I'm not going to do it today because I don't want.
I'm not either. It is definitely there in the back of my mind. It's like the monkey that sits in the back of your brain that's like playing the symbols. You're just like thinking, oh God, don't do this to me. I've been through enough. But it's so bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. And honestly, SJ's point is like kind of the best one. The losers are like the Hornets and the Wizards and the Jazz. Who?
Well, I mean, they just need to flatten the lottery odds. Like they just need to flatten them entirely.
But I find it funny. Like everyone calls Dallas like a small market team, but I'm pretty sure Dallas.
Stupid.
Because Dallas, I think, is only one of like 5 other cities that has.
There's a reason the Mavs upped the ticket prices because there are 8 million people living in the adjacent area. Like, what are we doing?
I think Boston. No, Boston doesn't have all major sports, do they?
This is a huge town, and
it's a huge town. Stupid. It's a large media market, and I think it's Boston, LA, New York, Dallas, or like I think maybe Miami. Or like there's only a few cities with like all the major sports in there. Like I'm including even like MLS and like NHL, like and like there's very few cities in the US that have that. So Dallas is one of those. So I find it funny, but I don't even know. Like, and I knew Flagg was this good because I think we talked to even before the Olympics. I want to say people were even talking about Flagg during the 23 run, during 23, like that offseason, even when Vic got drafted.
Yeah.
The fact that like at that time I was like, that's never going to happen. That is like an actual long shot.
Yeah.
It sucked that everything that had to happen for this to exist. But it's honestly mind-blowing, Kirk. Like there's no explanation for how insane of a timeline this has become, where the Mavericks are somehow picking number 1, especially, which I know a lot of Mavs fans don't. And obviously I'm like a much younger Mavs fan in relation to other people. So I don't know I haven't experienced that history, but for how ass the Mavs were in the 90s, the fact that they had never, forget even getting the number 1 pick, even moved up.
Never moving. I mean, that's, you got to understand, man. It was like, insofar as any of this stuff actively got covered in a real way, like there are newspapers and ESPN existed, but it's like, it was tragic.
Oh,
yeah.
If anyone wants to know, there is a great SB, I think what they're called Secret Base now. They made a great series on like the Cavs getting to the 2016 finals, all the things that led up to that. Part of that is the Stepien rule stuff, which the Mavericks are actually responsible for the Stepien rule because they fleeced him the entire time and they messed up all those picks still somehow. which that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
And that's where I really learned, the Mavericks were so bad in the 90s.
Right.
And it's like, I didn't realize how bad a team could be until that happened. And also, got to shout out Orlando Blackman. Awesome dude.
Yep.
Awesome dude. I only remember him a lot because there is a podcast where this guy, Lee Ellis, used to always quote his favorite All-Star game moment is Orlando Blackman shooting free throws and saying confidence, baby confidence, and then nailing free throws to win an All-Star game.
That's right.
What a wild thing to remember, and that be your favorite All-Star game memory, free throws. But nice guy. It's so weird. I have such conflicting emotions, and I'm sure like every fan does, which is part of it. That's like part of sports. You feel super elated one moment, and then you feel absolutely deflated. It's the meme of like, we're so back, we're so done.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
That is the epitome of sports fandom. No matter who you are a fan of, honestly. Like, you could have been a fan of the Yankees during their dynasty era in the early aughts and late 90s. You would have still felt the same, because that's just like sports. Like, sports seasons are too long and careers are too long, and it's such a weird thing that it's just normal. So
yeah,
I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can. I mean, I feel bad. I was listening to the pod. Okay. Don't worry. I was listening to the pod. I listen to the pod as much as I can. I have, like, no joke, 200 hours worth of podcasts that sit on my phone.
I hear you.
That are just waiting there. But I'm excited. I mean, honestly, I just feel it's never going to suffice. Like, I think I even talked about it then. Like, you could have got Cooper Flagg, but it's never going to suffice or make up for anything. But what I hope it does is it, like, reinvigorates some fans. Obviously, you're never going to solve it. Like, it is trauma in a way, right? Like, it's obviously not maybe the most serious thing, but for a lot of people, they put their time, their energy, their money, which is all important things, and you get hurt like that, it's tough for anyone. And I don't blame anyone for how they feel, or like if they still feel like they're mad at the Mavs, which totally reasonable. But I'm really happy about is obviously a lot of the fans, they didn't put it on the players, which I think would have been really easy for anyone to do. And I feel like no one in the fan base really did that, which credit to them. And what I think will happen if it happens is I don't think any of the fans are going to put it on Cooper, because clearly he has nothing to do with this.
Right.
So I'm just excited. I just want fans to be happy. Like, I
agree.
I like ragging on opponent fans, but I never like seeing.
I personally would like to be happy.
Yes, same. I was, I had such mixed emotions around the trade deadline because I follow all the sports. So
Right.
I went from the high or the low of trading Luka Doncic to the somewhat minimal high of trading Mikko Rantanen. It was such a chaotic season for me following all the sports, to be honest. Like, and it still is. And that's the beauty of following so many different sports, is I could simultaneously feel like I hit the lottery 5 times, or I could feel like I lost $1 million 5 times is what it feels like following sports. But man, I'm stoked, Kirk. There's no words to describe it. And I feel bad. I haven't been here as often. I really do. I really honestly feel bad, but I just feel like, like Josh said, Adam Silver just single-handedly saved the independent podcast space in Dallas, which I'm happy. Like, you and Tim and obviously the Lockdown.
I'm on the
guys
horn
slightly.
with some of our mutual people that we follow and enjoy that say they quit, and I'm just like, come back, baby. Come back in. come back to the space. We're here. We talk Mavs. We need my homie. We need my homie Bibbs who quit. We need him. I need him.
I 100% quit. I 100% quit Twitter. Like, I just don't touch Twitter at all. Like, I touch Twitter like once every maybe 4 months, if at all.
Sure.
But I didn't really quit the Mavs. Like, I can't do that in my head. I think I'm too much of a sycophant to quit the Mavericks.
I need to be hurt a lot.
I think
now, granted, they have, but I mean, I'm a real sicko. Like, I'm
That's
that
true.
kind of baby. So
that is literally true. I think I would only be able to quit the Mavs if they just like somehow actually disappeared off of existence.
That's right. All right, brother.
Then I don't know. All right.
Thanks
Thank you
for
Kirk.
hanging out. We'll talk soon.
Please get to everyone. Take care, everyone.
Yep. All right, man. We are really cooking. My wife is going to be pissed at me. But that's marriage. All right. Coming up next, a wonderfully named guest that I don't remember having on the show to date, but Cade. How we doing?
Doing pretty good, Kirk. How are you?
I'm good. You have a strong name. Cade is now Cade Cunningham is my son's. Before he's gonna be a Cooper Flagg fanatic, but I had transitioned him to Cade Cunningham. So how are we doing?
Pretty good. I mean, I was one of the guys. I was a Mavs hater for the last 4 months. I hated that team. You know, when they I did not see myself ever coming back. I was a diehard, lived in Dallas my whole life, and that was unforgivable.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't been this excited since they won the championship. They're back in the championship since we drafted Luka. It feels like the team, because one of the big, obviously there's the betrayal part of it that hurt so bad, but I didn't see a reason to be a fan because I saw no future at all. You know, everything was super bleak. I did not see how they could avoid being back in the dumpster of the 90s that they were for so long. But now this changes everything. And it's so great to actually in the past few hours, I'm feeling my love for Mavs and the NBA in general, just kind of coming back. And it's holy crap, I have something to be super excited about again. That's awesome. I did not think this was going to happen again, but yeah, it's great. And I have a few takes I want to fire off kind of relating to it. One,
let's do it.
You can't trade Flagg. You can't trade the pick. Not for Giannis. I don't even care.
Ooh, okay.
My reasoning for that is I really just want to avoid the whole anxiety, the expectations of another 3-year window.
Sure.
You have to win the title in the next 3 or 4 years, even if you have Giannis.
The West is just it's a killing field right now.
I mean, even if you had Giannis, it's they're a great team, but are they winning it? I don't know.
Yeah.
They'd be in the mix for sure. But again, it's you trade another kind of transcendent generational type player. You have to win the title. But if you just take Flagg, then we have someone to latch onto for 15 years. And win or lose, it's going to be fun with him. Kind of like the way it was with Luka again. But, I mean, even now, the team just has so much more juice and talent than even Luka with, I think there's more potential now than we had with Luka, even in the championship year or making it to the finals. I just think there's so much talent. You can make something work. And that kind of goes into my second point of, in my opinion, there's one player who fits the worst with the rest of the roster. And you kind of mentioned it. You agree with me a little bit. It's Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs to be the guy that you look to move. And
there's an existential level of expectations that comes with him, and it is not his fault.
No,
and I don't want to be mad at him, but it's not. That said, from a pure basketball point of view, you give me Flagg and AD and 3 other dudes, and I'm kind of I might be in. I might be in.
No, of course. I wouldn't. I'm not going to be mad that AD's they can make something work and they'll be exciting, but I just think, for example, Boston's struggling right now, and they might implode. And
prayers up for Jason Tatum. That sucked.
Well, I was thinking, yeah. At least that, yeah.
Oh, I really do hope he's okay. Nothing as a 41-year-old man who tries to stay in decent shape, nothing terrifies me like an Achilles injury. I would be 600 pounds within half a year because of an Achilles injury. I just, ugh.
And this was first big time game he was having too. He was on.
God, he was good. It was pissing me off. I like hating on him. I want to be able to hate on him. This is awful.
Yeah. And my pipe dream with potential trades and roster construction that would make me the most excited. I don't think this is going to happen, but some form of Anthony Davis for Jaylen Brown would basically smooth out all of the problems that the roster has.
You're a monster. I'm going to be thinking about that. That's a great idea.
It's terrible because everything would work so well. If you're back in 27, Kyrie's fully healthy again. You got Kyrie, Brown, and Flagg, and then a really good front court of your Lively, Gafford, maybe, and PJ. that's a really well-rounded team, top to bottom. You got the wings and you got the bigs, but that's my pipe dream.
Good take, good pipe dream. That's what this is for right now. We're just BSing.
Yeah, because I mean, hours ago, this morning, there was none of that. There was nothing. There was maybe you trade PJ or like Gafford for like a slightly like a guard or something that marginally makes the team a little better. But now there's so much ahead. Maybe you keep on AD and have AD and Flagg go together and they work really well or something. And then you obviously you have really good front court pieces who are worth a lot. PJ, Lively, and Gafford are all very desirable. You can turn that into, I think Cato mentioned on the DLLS pod today, like some combination of those guys for like a Danny White, and boom, that helps you a lot. Like there's just so much more possibilities now that didn't exist just hours ago. And I wanted to fire off one last take really quick. Obviously I'm running on a sugar high from winning the lottery and stuff, but I think Flagg is a better prospect than kind of the consensus seems to be. I like him a little more than what people thought of Anthony Davis was out of college. Davis was definitely a better defensive prospect at that point, but Flagg's still going to be great. But I think there's just a bit more meat on the bone for him to be a creator.
Yep.
Like ball in the hand, face up, and go score or make a play. I think he can do some of that he didn't totally show yet at Duke, but he showed enough flashes where I think he can become something to where like he's in the running for MVPs and so on. But yeah, I'm just super stoked, man, and it's so good to be back in this place where, you know,
Cade, that's what I'm talking about. I'm glad you're happy. I'm happy too. I'm also happy you guys are waiting this long. All of you are sociopaths and you're my people. I'm very appreciative. Thank you so much. Okay.
All right, thank you. You have a good one.
All right. Talk soon. Coming up next, my man Isaac. Isaac, welcome to the show once again. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am about 2/3 of a bottle of wine.
Happy Dirk birthday.
That's right. I'm 41 today.
Didn't want to expose your age there. My fault.
What a way to kick things off. I am very
yeah.
pleased. I had hoped, but this is really beyond my wildest imagination. So tell me what you're thinking.
I'm thinking that I predicted this 3 days ago.
Oh, you're such
No,
an
I'm just
asshole.
kidding.
Tell us why you predicted it 3 days ago.
Oh my God. The Mavs Moneyball. Got a shameless.
Tell us about it. We have to assume that none of the listeners are
Of course.
readers and none of the readers
Of
are
course.
listeners. Tell us about what you and Tyler put together, because I really liked this.
So a few weeks ago, we have a little NBA draft channel in our Slack, and we were talking about how the Mavericks had never moved up. And Kirk, I'm sure they've been talking about it all night. Like 16 lotteries, the Mavs had never moved up. And so Tyler and I did some math on how likely that was to have never moved up in the lottery. And it was like in 1,000 simulations, only 21% of them, we would have never gotten the number 1 overall pick. And then to never move up at all was like 0.8% or something like that. And so I saw those numbers and I was like, okay, 0.8% to have never moved up. And then we have a 1.8% chance to have the number 1 pick. I mean, it was always going to happen. It was always the Mavericks. And so I wrote an article on Mavs Moneyball, which y'all should go check out, about how it was always going to be the Mavericks. After all the suffering we went through this year and the history of draft lottery unluckiness that we've been through, it was always us. It was always
this is the
Flag
most
to Dallas.
This is so at a certain point, the gambler's fallacy has to come to an end. And
Right.
like we've lost so many damn times. That's really kind of the argument. And
Right.
it's flooring people. Like Bill Simmons lost his mind. And if you're a Bill Simmons hater or an aficionado as I am tickled by his sort of petulance at this, because it's like, look, 17 times at a certain point, you're going to have to move up. I still am of the opinion. I was convinced they were going to move up, but I really thought it was going to be like 4, because nothing would torture me more than the concept of like, I'm going to have to root for Ace Bailey. And maybe I still will. Who knows?
Yeah. No, and then Bill was on his podcast in March saying that Dallas was going to win the lottery. but now
Really?
he's mad that it happened. And yeah, that clip was on Twitter. I gotta find it. I'll send it to you.
That might be a fun thing to write on in a couple of days of being like the comparison of the 2 points of view. Good stuff.
Because like at the time he was like, oh, well, Dallas is gonna win it because they traded Luka, but I guess he forgot about that because you just say that kind of stuff in the moment. But yeah, I just texted it to you. You know, he predicted Dallas would win the lottery and said he'd place a bet on it. I don't know if he actually did or not, but that would have given insane odds.
Yes, that's because I mean, my buddy Matt Moore, who writes for multiple places, he since the day of the trade has been like, this is one giant conspiracy and has laid it all out.
Yeah,
and the nice part. And I don't really want to, give it one way or the other, but I'll just simply say that I'm pleased to be on the receiving end of a conspiracy.
Exactly. No, that's how I felt. I was like, if they did rig it, good for them, because the draft lottery, I do believe, is like 10 or 15 years from going extinct. Like these teams are tanking and getting the 5th pick. Like it's the 3rd year in a row that the team with the worst record is going to have the 5th pick. This isn't sustainable. Like this just is not sustainable. And I think the league is going to be like, okay, we either have to refix the odds to where the worst teams have slightly better choices or slightly better chances, or just go to what the MLB and NFL does. And if you have the worst record, you have the number 1 pick. Like, because this is just bad for basketball. Like, I know we make jokes about Utah and Charlotte being in basketball purgatory, but it's like, what do? Charlotte didn't really tank this year. They were just bad.
Right.
And now they get what, the 4th pick? And if they're bad next year, they have what, a 14% chance? Like, they're just screwed. Nobody's going to Charlotte. But no, we're talking so much about trading the pick. What is that?
It's a rough deal.
Yeah. No, but we're talking so much about trading the pick. I'm saying we got to trade one of the big contracts and start the rebuild with Cooper Flagg. Like, we could contend for a long time if we get a young core up in here.
Hey, but that's a deal for tomorrow, and we'll argue over all this, and Nico won't care. You got anything else, man? I appreciate you waiting.
Just, we're talking so much about wings. The Dallas Wings start this Friday against the Minnesota Lynx at 7:00.
Watch Page. Watch this team.
Page Packers.
They're worth it. They're worth the investment. If you're not a WNBA fan, I'll get it. You have a lot of options, but I'm just going to say, guys, give it a try.
For sure. All right. Thanks for having me on, man. Happy birthday.
Thank you. All right. Talk soon. All right. Coming up next, DJ has been waiting forever. DJ, how you doing? Mute.
Hey,
there we
what's
go.
up, Kirk? Happy Dirk Day, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What's going on?
Oh man. So I was in the middle of dinner with not one but 2 of my bosses. I'm away from home right now. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida right now. And when I saw the notification on my phone, I said, "Holy shit." And the guys were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "You know what? Excuse me. Let me go to the restroom really quick." No, man. Because, like, with everything that's happened this season and trading Luka, like, I'm like you, man. I was locked in on Luka before he even became a Maverick. And to see him, go to the Lakers and everything that's happened, and then for this to happen tonight, it was like a full circle moment.
Yep, it's gotta. I don't want to say we deserve this because I don't think that's fair. I am simply going to say that I am happy to be the recipient of some good luck. And not even for a change, because we've really been blessed for a lot of our time. If you're a longtime Mavs fan, which I just want to assume you are, because you waited to talk to me for over an hour. We've been blessed, but it's just it's nice. I'm gonna take the good tidings and go from here and just be happy with it. I'm not gonna question it.
No, not at all. And yeah, we know the league is rigged. Like, we all know that even before tonight. But this right here is just, oh my God, dude. Like, I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to see what Cooper's going to do with this team if he stays on this team, which I think he will. But, after we saw what happened with Luka, anything can happen. But I'm excited. And, I'm not sure if, Krishna mentioned it earlier. Like, I don't think AD is going to be the best fit on this team now, or not even necessarily AD, but like, do we even really need PJ anymore?
I sort of depend. It sort of depends on what kind of team you want to build. I just don't have a good answer there, because I could see an argument for, and I could see an argument for moving him, because in my opinion, he's probably the single best asset, because he's young, he's got a reasonable deal, and even at an extension, you saw him in a variety of roles for the Mavericks.
Mhm.
He was like the option 1 at certain parts. He was also the option 4 at certain parts.
Yeah.
And I've grown to love his versatility. I didn't like when he bitched about us being mad about the trade, but that is what it is. He probably didn't like being booed. He's a good basketball player, and
yeah,
you could see him on a lot of different kinds of teams.
Mm-hmm. And just the fact that he started playing the 3 after the trade, and I'm like, I don't think that's it for you, buddy. Like, he's naturally a 4, and he's versatile. He can guard multiple positions, but like, playing small forward is not his natural position. It just didn't look right.
Right.
And now that we potentially could have Cooper Flagg in that position now, there's so many different realms of possibilities of what this team could look like, and I'm actually excited now. I'm back locked in on the Mavericks.
It's nice, and I'm glad to hear that. I appreciate you waiting and hanging out with us. You got anything else for us?
No, that was pretty much it. Just thanks for having me on, and keep doing what you're doing, man. And enjoy your birthday.
Thanks so much. Talk soon.
Thank
All right,
you.
we got everybody else has been waiting forever as well, so we're just gonna go and we'll talk to everybody. So Jose, talk to me. How you doing?
Well, before today I was hopeless with all the teams doing grief, but right now I'm just still in shock, because when we take all the history that we have in lottery, and we simply get 1.9% of the first round of the first pick, and suddenly we are there. Like, when I had the notification actually that we could be the top 4, that we were in top 4, I was already like cheering up, like it was.
I
whoa.
thought my friends were messing with me. I had to go to one of my son's sports practices, and I start getting all these text messages, and I'm like, people are screwing with me. Like, this isn't funny. And then I get on the internet, and you have every single Mavs fan that I follow is like typing in all caps. Everybody, it was great. I loved it.
And then, like, when we saw the result, like, I was just like cheering up, and then I had some weird moment when I thought, well, the MF guy said like the defense wins championship. That means that we're gonna draft like Cayman Malawak in the first pick. But then, like, man, that's like that's really like something out of my mind. I mean, and on the opposite side of my colleagues I'm not on rush to like build a team right now and make moves in the free agent. I guess like I'm not full on trade, except to assure that we can get a really, really good ball handler. I guess that's a huge need for us. And I'm able, like, I'm convicted that we could change some names for it. But I guess right now, the most important thing it's to build like one coaching staff focused on players development, because like we have again another window of like 7-8 years of high competitive team. So that's like the main focus to me right now. And of course fire Nico, because that lame does not belong. He does not deserve. He does not deserve that. That's the point. Like it's like it's incompetent work being rewarded.
If the owner was hoping to get himself back in the good graces of Mavs fans, now would be the time to be like, you know what, all of you guys are gone.
Kirk, Harvard Business Review has to take like this situation of Luka Doncic and become a case in the university, because like that was the worst way possible to you handle with an exit. You demolish him, you trade him for nothing, and you put like all one structure on the garbage. That was exactly the result of what he was doing. That's something that we've never seen in any sport, in any kind of sport, in any kind of professional league. You take like something that was built, and the point is, you have all the results, you have like all the stats on it, and you have also the intangibles, which is something that you will never find. He had all the intangibles, and he just like screwed up and said, "No, I'll take like my body here, and I will repeat some cliches on the microphones, and everybody will forget." No, that's the point. We can't forget. We can't forget. We, the fan base, we deserve that for like this, the whole 2024 of 2025 of basketball that we had, because like we haven't seen Luka in this year, and also like our hopes were vanished day after day, because like we had like this small sample of the game against the Rockets where we get, hey, okay, maybe we have something here, and then like the injuries were like ripping off all like the expectations that we had. So he does not deserve that, but we do, because we were in hell these last months. We were in hell, and suddenly like Star Wars Episode 4, we have hope again.
That's right, my man. Hey, well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Okay,
You're welcome,
I appreciate you waiting.
Oh, welcome. Thank you, Kirk.
All right, talk soon. Okay, DJ, I don't know how you jumped the line or how I messed it up. Oh, no, you're still there. I brought you back. Sorry, DJ. This is me bad at this. Whew. Okay, Rain. Welcome to the show, Rain.
Hi, Kirk. I'm very shocked.
Yes, I can't imagine. Tell me more. Rain, did you go away? Rain kicked himself off, or did I kick Rain off? Anyway, we'll go to Zach, and maybe Rain will come back. Zach, how you doing, brother? Hit that
Kirk,
unmute
can
button.
you hear me?
I can.
So I was FaceTiming my girlfriend while I was waiting, and
Tell me you hung up on your girlfriend to talk to me.
oh, I told her I'm waiting. You know, she's
Please apologize. My wife would cut my head off for that. You're a good man.
Well, the Mavs come. Well, you come first, Kirk, not necessarily the Mavs. No,
look. This is a traumatic. Like, look, any partner that you have has to understand that this stuff is so stupid that the only way to suffer through it is with other weirdos. And as long as she can grant you that, then you're okay.
Well, so so she's born. So like I'm born and raised Dallas, and then I went to college in the Bay Area, worked there after. That's where I met her. She's born and raised California, Warriors fans, but parents, but they're LA. So like her brother-in-law's a diehard Lakers fan. So she's been, I had converted her from a Warriors fan to a Mavs fan.
Sure.
And, but me, with everything I was going through, like, and her brother-in-law is like a diehard, he's like actually a diehard Lakers fan, like following them when like Robert Saker was playing. This isn't like a bandwagon. Now he's just as annoying as the other ones. And I love the guy. He's a great guy. But so I think in her mind, she was starting to think there was like going to be cohesion, like me supporting Luka on the Lakers, and this, because I've been disgusted with the Mavs. But now with this, I kind of wanted to. I just need your help talking through all this tonight, because I have a good buddy. His name's Nigel. Also went to Dallas, or grew up in Dallas with me, and I texted him today. There's a 1.8% chance I come back to the Mavs this morning. And I sent it jokingly, but I think I told you this, Kirk, last time. Like I've realized these last 3 months, like I can't totally quit the team.
Yeah.
Just because it's ingrained in me. Like even when I wanted to root against them in the play-in, like subconsciously, like I was depressed seeing them losing to Memphis.
Yeah.
I was happy when they beat the Kings. And so what I realized was like, I would like there to be an opportunity for me to give myself to the team the way I historically had. And really, but I'm not going to sign up for the torture and misery that Nico Harrison had organized for us.
Yeah.
I have a reaction video of the Mavs getting the number 1 pick tonight. I lost my shit. Yeah.
I did the most embarrassing thing I've done in a long time.
Yeah.
My son, my 8-year-old, no, I guess he's 9. My 9-year-old son's baseball team was practicing. I get out of my car, and the area between the parking lot and where his team was practicing was like 400 yards. There was all these tennis courts and old people playing. I get about halfway, and I'm in between the tennis courts and the baseball field, and I start screaming, "We are so back!" And granted, nobody knows what the shit I'm talking about because they're all playing tennis or playing baseball, and I just look like a drunk in the middle of the field.
No, I'm I'm trying to find it.
It was
Let me see if I can find this video.
It's worth it. It's worth it. For any audio listeners only, Zach is showing me a video of him screaming into his own phone. 10 of 10. 10 of 10 recommended.
And then I ran to my closet to take all my
That's good stuff. See, it's good that you still have it. See, a lot of people like got rid of stuff. Like I have all this stuff in my office, and I was really actually thinking about what I was going to do next.
Well,
like,
I mean,
stuff.
Dude, I've lost like my credit card like 7 times. I've lost like so many different things. Like I've lost favorite shirts. I lose my car keys. I still have my 2011 Dallas Mavericks championship hat that I got summer after. I do not. In every state I've moved to, every residence, I have that. I guess what I want to talk to you though about is like, I like to consider myself like an informed Mavs fan. Like I'm not like I follow the salary cap and all this stuff. Like I would never be someone like, oh, I hope we get Giannis because I knew like the money wouldn't match. Or like, this is back like in 2019, 2020, 2021. I'm just like really conflicted as a Mavs fan right now, as someone who was like kind of swearing off the team, but knowing deep down, like I love the team, frankly, thinking they weren't worthy of my diehard fandom. Like me, I spent way too much money to buy a finals ticket last year. Like when I lived in the Bay Area, I think I've told you this, when they were the worst team in the league and it was the KD Warriors. Like I bought expensive KD Warriors price tickets to drive to watch the Mavs lose by 20, 30 points to the KD Warriors. Like I'm a committed fan. And so I like, don't trust Nico to get this right. I think rightly so. I would like, I think I was maybe a little encouraged by the tweets I saw about Dumont and Cuban, and hopefully Dumont will like maybe listen to Cuban now. I can't believe I'm saying this, but like about not trading the pick. I guess I'm rambling here, but I just like want your thoughts like on this whole situation about, and at the same time, I also was just like still missing Luka, which is all a weird thing because like Luka's the guy who I've loved so much, and really what Cooper's ceiling is. I think back to like when Pelicans fans got Zion, I'm sure it hasn't panned out as they thought. So if you could just like kind of share your thoughts on all these things I'm touching on, like the trust, betrayal, optimism, strategy. I was thinking, should we fire Kidd? Like I just want your thoughts on all this.
Zach, this is an impossible question.
I know, I'm sorry.
No. Let me take a long pull of my unoaked Chardonnay, like the lady I am. The unvarnished truth to me is that they need to fire Nico as soon as possible. They need to start fresh and figure out what to do next. I don't really mind the players, but Nico Harrison is an existential blight upon the organization whose arrogance will not result in anything long-term basketball-wise happening to the Mavericks. Now, maybe I'll be wrong because I doubt that Patrick Dumont will fire him. But that's what I think needs to happen next. Because to be quite candid, there are only 30 NBA general manager jobs. there are many, many, many qualified people for those jobs. Basketball lifers, people that have connections, relationships, an understanding of how to build the team, of the cap, et cetera, call it what you will. Nico Harrison is none of those things outside of a guy who ran shoes for Kobe Bryant and apparently liked Anthony Davis a lot. I'm not interested in him. His arrogance will never, ever leave me. Luka was a special person to me in a way that I will never be able to properly contextualize. That said, this is a second chance or a third chance if you're a really long-term Mavs fan.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. You don't get third chances. You can't fuck it up. So they need to do better and they need to start over. That's where I am.
I totally agree with you. Like I think I just kind of need to hear that too. Like I remember when we were venting or like lamenting, maybe it was the night the Grizzlies eliminated the Mavs, and you were saying like Luka Doncic is going to be the best player to ever play for the Mavs, and no one's going to come close to it. And the reality is like odds are Luka is going to be better than Cooper ever will be, but it is like on the board that like Cooper Flagg could be a top 5 player. In the NBA.
That's a great take. That's a way to phrase it, where it's like Luka is so good, but there's still an opportunity for Flagg.
And my point being is like, how many players do you even get a chance that you can say it's on the board? And the reaction is it's more than actually getting a Luka or an Anthony Edwards. But the fact that the Mavs even find themselves in this position again, it's truly a miracle. One of my other really good friends from high school is a diehard Suns fan. And he was raging tonight because he hates the Mavs. I mean, he grew up in Dallas. He hates the Mavs, and because the Suns were just in the lottery every year. And I was thinking about it, like if you're a Wizards fan, if you're a Hornets fan, I would be irate right now. If I was a Jazz fan, and it's like, you kidding me? The Mavs got Dirk, and then they go to Luka, and they luck into pairing him with Kyrie and going to the finals instead of all of it, and then they self-detonate, and their reward is the best American prospect since maybe LeBron James or maybe since Anthony Davis. So I guess my question is, if the Mavs don't fire Nico, which I don't think they will, I think Dumont is maybe more likely to do it than 5 hours ago. But what is that? Like, I had very difficult time trusting this team.
Yes.
If Nico is like, I told you this when the Mavs blew up, ended the season. I said, typically when a star player leaves, like you hope for that day you can get the next player to build around that can launch you there. But we just had a 25-year-old and the guy torpedoed it like by himself. So why in any world can I even get excited about the judgment to guide us if that's just looming over it the whole time? So I think that's what I really struggle with. In the likely scenario Nico doesn't get fired, what is your advice to Mavs fans that are frankly like scarred, have deep scar tissue, and are like, it's just going to happen again. Something bad's going to happen again.
Oh man, that's really hard, and I don't have a good answer other than I think you should watch for more than the players. I think you should watch for the people that you watch with. I think you should participate because life is obnoxiously short, and the connections are just as important as the experiences. And I think that if you're willing to put your heart out there again, this is as good a time as any. That's just how I feel.
Like, because I tried very hard the last 3 months to like become a Lakers fan. Like being in.
I have to eject you from the show just immediately on principle.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, but what like I can't replace the years I've dedicated to this team. Like I just like it's not. I've always hated the Lakers. But my friends who were like serious Lakers, I was like, I can't relate to you. I've hated your fan base, even if I wanted to, which was the time like my favorite players now on your team. So I'm kind of like it's this or bust. It's the Mavs or this or bust, and I want it to work. But I also like I don't have a lot of confidence it's going to work out. And not to be a downer, but I think it's a very real thing Mavs fans need to be aware of, that like the leadership of this team,
right,
Cade included. So I know you probably got a lot of people to talk to, but that's those are my thoughts.
Hey,
And
man, I really appreciate you waiting, and these are good thoughts. Okay.
Yeah, appreciate it, Kirk.
All right, talk soon.
All right, peace.
All right. Rain is gonna head us out. Then I'm gonna go try to spend some time with my wife before my birthday ends. How we doing?
Hey there. I literally woke up to this news, saw Kenny
Just like-
Beecham's video on the top of my YouTube feed. Didn't believe it. Went to check if you were live, and went, "Oh fuck, it's real." And that was my reaction. It was, "Oh fuck, it's real." It's actually, and this is what tells me that I hate Nico with every fiber of my being. It made me mad. Now I'm at the point where, you know what? If they, and I don't think they're going to get rid of Nico. I don't think they are. This will probably pull me back into watching games, because look, at the end of the day, like when Kyrie got injured, anytime I saw another player on the Mavericks I wasn't watching the games live. I would watch bits after. I just, with how the time zones work and the time of the day, like it takes a lot of planning and scheduling for me to be able to watch NBA games. And I wasn't willing to put the NBA at the top of my priority list anymore.
Right.
Including watching Luka, because I'll be honest, I've watched as many of the Luka games as I reasonably can without sacrificing anything.
Right.
But I wouldn't watch a Lakers game if Luka, like any of the games Luka wasn't playing. I was like, I couldn't give a fuck. But it kind of feels like without Nico, without this hatred that I feel for Nico, there's a chance. And on top of that, I don't know if anyone said this. Isn't it just a little bit weird that Dallas has had 3 white superstars in a row?
Look, man, there's a reason I haven't addressed it in 2 hours, but it just exists. It's objectively funny.
It is a little funny. I was also the whole time someone who was like, "There's no conspiracy here. Nico's just a fucking idiot," and I think that is true.
Yeah.
Still, but I think that there is a little bit of something in the background. I do think this was a race.
I've not talked about it, but it's going to be something that we have to at some point because it's so hilariously ridiculous. The rigged element of it is...
Yeah, it's there's too many quiet things that haven't been said out loud right now, but on top of that, like there is a real chance, like this is a third bite at the apple. You do not get this. Patrick Dumont, if this is your opportunity for the long-term sake of this team, get rid of Nico Harrison and build around Cooper. Because look, there's every chance now that the year after the next year, where theoretically you've got a healthy Kyrie, let's say you do still have AD on the team, there's a chance that Flagg might have developed enough to be impactful on a championship winning team.
I mean, he's that kind of guy. Like, he really is. But it's just, it's a hard path because the West is horrible more than anything else.
It's a fucking slaughterfest. And it's a slaughterfest that I looked at these games and went, fuck it. If the Mavs were healthy and still had Luka, holy shit, they got a better chance than they had last year. Like, that's like I've also barely been watching the playoffs. Like I looked at it and was like, fuck this they would have a way better shot this year than they did last year. But no, you had to fuck that up. So I see the path. I'm terrified. Like I like, what are the odds that Nico's like, fuck the future of the team?
the future of the team is the next 2 years. Let's get Giannis. Like I think there is a very non-zero chance of that. Like I would almost be willing to put money on him trading the pick to get Giannis.
I can't deal with that. I can't think about that today. Maybe tomorrow.
But maybe tomorrow. But as it stands, like I feel so conflicted because I'm just like I have this hatred and I'm like
yes.
But there's this chance, like there's like the team, like I couldn't get it out of me. I could not get out of me. Like my partner, for a week, I had a fucking eating disorder. I couldn't stomach anything. I was depressed as fuck. And genuine chance that this could pull me back to the team, that I could look at this team and go, holy shit, yeah, I'm gonna do the weird thing, and I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna, do the walk of shame as I come back through the door, and I'm back in this every other week, and like, that's the other thing. Like, this community is one of the only reasons that I paid attention to the Mavericks. So, like, you've truly done it for yourself. I will say that if there was like a Lakers podcast like this, or with a community like this, there's a good chance that they could have converted me into a full-time Lakers fan. But they just don't have it. And I've come to realize that there's just about no fan base that has a community like this specifically. Which, you can hang that on your head, Kirk, that you may single-handedly have saved a lot of Mavericks fandoms from being completely converted to another team. And I will leave that for you on your birthday.
Thank you, buddy.
Ever.
All right.
I'll let you get back to the rest of your life.
All right. Talk to you next time. Be good.
Nice. Bye.
All right, Leo, you're actually gonna close this out. What's up, young man?
Hi. Kirk, have you seen Welcome to Wrexham?
No. But I know what it is.
I will single-handedly say that show is the only reason why I'm contemplating still being a fan, because the sense of community that the last caller just talked about is exactly right. Bro, we got SJ back. SJ's talking about coming back to doing podcasts. And, Dwight never gave it up.
SJ. Fuck you, SJ. Come right from it. She's still in Mavs Moneyball Slack. She just doesn't write anymore. Anyway, what's up?
But I mean, Dwight's back. Dwight never left. He's like, I'm not going to be a fan anymore. He's back. So, we got like part of it back. Now we just got to convince Bibbs to come back, and Reese, and it'll be like the old days.
Look, I waffle every 20 minutes. You guys can't come back. You quit on us. No, I get it. I hear what you're saying.
But the one thing I do want to say is, I don't think the Luka trade was rigged so for us to get the first round pick. I think all the protesting and yelling and outrage and deserved love that the fans have for this team is why we got Cooper.
Yeah.
If Adam Silver rigged this for us to get it, it's because we deserved it. It's because everyone yelled and rightfully was pissed off about how much they messed up their favorite team, the thing that brought this city love. And I'm happy that Mavs fans have this now, and I'm happy that your podcast is saved.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that.
Happy Goat Day.
Thanks, buddy. We'll talk soon, okay? All right, guys. Wonderful time. 2 hours of podcasting. I'm too tired for this. But hey, we had fun. We had a great time. Thank you so much for everybody. We had a couple of super chats that I just want to shout out. I apologize for not recognizing you guys in the moment. I don't know when we'll be back. Maybe I'll be back a little later this week. I need to bring some Cooper Flagg experts on. But thank you so much. You all are wonderful people. Go Mavs.